I accidentally shut off the song while I was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, what's up? Welcome back to the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast. I am Jordan,
And I am Ben.
and hopefully our cameras stay on this time.
Dude, we've been having so many technical difficulties.
So many. But it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah, it is all good. Do you hear that?
Is that from the cold brew machine?
No, it's from the beer fridge.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe the beer fridge won't work in here. Yeah, we just did a low level of hum the whole time. Do you guys want to see a beer fridge? Because we were planning on putting beer in there in that fridge, but
And water.
And water.
And cold brew cans.
And cold brew. Maybe we just unplug it when we film. We just gotta remember to plug it back in
Maybe it won't do that.
the entire time.
Yeah.
I might be able to remove it in post too.
Fun
just clean up
stuff.
the audio. One of our special guests today wasn't able to make it last minute, which is fine because we like mixing it up. A guest, us.
Well, and also, we have to remember, too, we just said this. We had a bunch of people here in the warehouse today getting stuff done, but it's usually just Jordan and I in here. So today was kind of cool. There's a lot of people in here, but they were like, oh, did your guest just bail? And we were like, yeah. But we have to remember that people are coming out of their way to do this with us. Like, we're not
100%.
Joe Rogan. Obviously, that'd be super dope to have a platform like him, but that's not us.
I want to be jacked like him too.
Dude, frick, dude, I want to be able to kick like him.
Dude, there was literally he just came out with because he does the on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they came out with a kettlebell with his face on it.
that's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Dude, Joe Rogan arguably has one of the most influential platforms of today's generation,
Yeah.
and it's wild, like wild. You could love him, hate him, don't
Yeah.
care for him, but that guy, in my opinion, altered the 2024 presidential debate.
Oh yeah.
Or debate. Why did I say debate? Presidential race.
Arguably him and Elon Musk. I'm not going to say saved democracy, but definitely like did some pretty cool things that allowed. I
Oh
don't know.
yeah,
I don't know how to
Joe
explain it.
Rogan. If you ever hear this, please let me come on your podcast.
Yeah, bro, you're the man.
I just want to talk. I don't. There's no.
I didn't want to
agenda,
be on
dude.
his podcast. I just want to hang out with him.
I just
let's
want
go
to talk
shoot
to the
bows.
dude. I want to talk to the dude on his podcast about nothing
Yeah,
and everything, all in one.
maybe. Never mind. I'm not going to make that joke. We'll leave it. I was going to make a joke, but we'll leave it alone.
So for today's episode, what we're gonna do is Jordan just hit me with it because it's payback apparently for all the times that I did it to him.
Let's go.
But go ahead, dude.
So, someone DM'd us a while back, and I couldn't even find the DM, but I saved the question they had. They said, hey, can you guys talk about dealing with your emotions and anger, especially when it comes to communicating with your wife? So, disagreements, that kind of stuff, how to communicate that effectively with your wife. So, I'm interested, Ben, to hear your thoughts on how you deal with emotions and anger when it comes to communicating with your
Oh
wife.
man, that's a great question. Obviously, I had no time to prepare for this question, but I think what's cool about this question is someone that listened or someone that's following us, whether it's like the podcast or personally, genuinely wanted to know like our opinions and our way of dealing with something, which is really cool. And I don't take that lightly because obviously words have power, actions have power, and I'm fully aware of that. And I'm fully aware that I am a man that is constantly trying to better myself each and every single day, as a husband, as a father, as a business owner, as a follower of Jesus, as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, as just like a friend, as everything, right? You're constantly trying to make yourself better. But I think this particular question is something that's so, it would be so easy to just overlook it, right? Because I've been together with my wife for 11 years now. You've been together with yours for a long time. And I think these types of questions or topics can sometimes almost should not I don't want to say forgotten, but it's just like a daily practice, right? It's you live with someone 24/7, you're with them, you're growing in life as parenting, as in just doing life. It'd be so quick to not even think about, oh, how do I respond in certain situations?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, my temper was something that I had to genuinely learn to control, and how to not let it get the best of me in a certain situation. So when we first started dating, I was still coming out of what I like to call like my, my crazy days, my psychotic days, trying to process, the prior experience of my life, which was the Marine Corps and 2 deployments, right? And then coming back and trying to just jump back into life like nothing happened. But I was very easily triggered. I had a big temper. I had a big mouth. I still have a big mouth.
You? No.
I've learned to control it a lot more now. It's just more sarcasm and joking around, and I have no problems telling, the blunt truth about things. But one thing that took me a long time to get under control was my temper. And a temper's more than just rage, right? Yelling or reacting or being pissed off. Like, a temper is also something that can change the way you have the ability to process something and to receive it, to hear it before you respond, right? So when we first started dating, we would get in arguments all the time, and it would be something so stupid, and it was just so toxic. And I would go from, fun, goofy, lighthearted to all of a sudden just like this a-hole. And obviously would snap and react in certain ways where it's like, whoa, dude, like, first of all, 1, you should never talk to like a female like that. 2, like, you have literally got to figure whatever it is you're going through, because that's not healthy. And so for me, it took a lot of time and a lot of like conscious effort to learn how to control that emotion of mine, right? Because anger is an emotion. Like, I always joke around and say I don't have emotion. Like, my number one emotion is anger. And I don't know why. I don't have like this underlying crazy childhood that I'm holding on to this trauma. Like, obviously I have the trauma of going to war, but why does that anger, or why did that anger control everything I did? I don't freaking know. It was always my first reaction, right? It was, oh, lighthearted, happy, have fun, to, oh, I'm freaking killing someone, And so I think for me, again, it took a lot of self-development to understand how to process my anger and how to still let it happen, because it would be unhealthy to not let that happen, right? To bottle that up. And I didn't know how to do that. And so we would argue, we would fight. I didn't know how to fight. My fighting or my arguing was like, oh, I'm going to win this, or I'm going to freaking belittle you so you feel bad about yourself so I win. And I did that for a long time, and it wasn't right, obviously, and it wasn't cool, and we broke up for numerous reasons, and I had to really kind of just like figure it out. And so now fast forward to our relationship, like, I feel like my wife and I just have such a healthy, strong, like, just fantastic relationship. Like, we have like little random, I don't even want to call them arguments, because they're not even really arguments, but just like more like I say something dumb and she's like, oh, really?
So let me ask you a question. What do you think help? What do you think that you guys did that helped lead to that point? Because there's obviously moments in life where you guys disagree on something.
Yeah.
So now, how do you guys have a disagreement without it becoming
An
anger and an argument?
Yeah, honestly, I know it sounds simple and cheesy and cliche, but you just like call it out right there. Like, if there's an issue, you say it, right? Like, yesterday morning, here's a prime example. Yesterday morning, dude, our kids have been just waking up at the crack of dawn every day. And my daughter and my middle, they share a room right now. And it's like a game to them where it's like, let's just freaking like run down the hall, smack the parents' door, get them like, it's 5 o'clock, but let's, do things we know we're not supposed to. And usually it's me that gets up. And so my wife knows I've been like super tired and was like sick. And so she got up to take care of our son, because he ended up having to go to the bathroom. He's like lately, this is a fun fact for parents, lately at freaking like 5:15 every morning for like the last week has to go poop. And so he's like, he'll open our door and yell, "Can I go poop?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bro. You know how to go.
Just
like,
go.
Like, go." So Devin got up to like, help wipe him, make sure he was good. And then I was like, oh, thank you. That was like really cool because it was like, I don't know, it was like 5:05. And I didn't sleep great, wasn't feeling good. So I was like, I need to go back to sleep. And then she got back into bed and just passed out. But at this point, our kid or my middle and my daughter, they're up and they're just doing their normal morning thing, which I usually get up for. But I was like, oh, she already got up. Like I get to finally sleep until like 6:30 for once. And she didn't get up and just kept saying, go back in your room, go back in your room. I'm like, dude, like the point of you helping is to like get up. So you can go close the door so I can sleep like I do for you 99 freaking % of the time. And so she didn't, and I finally was like, okay, dude, I'm up. So I got up.
I'm laughing because we literally had the same argument last week.
Well, so
like, literally the same exact one.
So this is where the argument came. It wasn't even an argument. This is where my mouth and my, got me. And so finally I was like, all right, I'm up. I get up. And she's like, I love you. Like I was walking out of the room. She's like, I love you. And I just said, yeah. And walked out and closed the door, dude. Literally all I said was, yeah. Like more of like a, bro, if you love me, you would have got up so I could be sleeping right now. And then I obviously knew that wasn't the right response after I did it. But it was just like something that was like in the moment where obviously like I didn't do anything wrong, but I was just like so annoyed that I was just like, yeah. And so I walked downstairs and she comes down like 45 minutes later. And I was like, 45, like, I was like, you go back to sleep? She's like, no. After that yeah comment, I just stayed up there and let you deal with the kids. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, well, that's when I turned it aside, because she called it out right away and I was like, yeah, sorry. But I was like, I turned it into a joke and was like, well, if you loved me, you would have got up.
Yeah. I'm laughing because that's like almost identical to what happened to us last week. Like almost almost like verbiage to a T, everything. I think oh my gosh, I gotta stop crying because I'm laughing so hard. I think part of it is that you have to learn how to argue because it's like you're gonna have, if you do your marriage right, in the beginning, you're gonna have those friction moments.
Yeah, you have to.
Because you're two different people. Like I said, I was telling this young man young man. I sounded old. I was telling this guy that we were chatting about him and his wife because they were getting into it. And I was like, dude, you speak man, she speaks woman, and you're going into the same house and you're trying to talk to each other. And it's like speaking two completely different languages. And I was like, part of it is that you just got to learn how to speak the same language. And a lot of that, that's going to take time.
Yeah.
But once you realize that, it's going to take away from the tension. So one huge pointer I gave to him is as you're learning how to argue, when you come out of that argument, you guys are coming back together and you apologize, state your intent. Because that a lot of times when you say something, when you're first learning how to argue, you say something and it's not how you meant it, but it comes off wrong.
It's a response.
Yeah, and you say something. So like, hey, I was trying to say this, the underlying thing. How could I have said that to you better that you may have understood it, responded it, and to that better?
Yeah.
And then hopefully over time she'll start doing the same thing to you so that you can have those moments where you're having a conversation without it blowing up. But
yeah, because you have to have those, dude.
You have to have those moments.
If you don't get to a point where you're discussing things, then obviously that's when those massive arguments are going to happen.
Yeah,
right?
and that's the thing. I think a lot of people just bury it and they hide. They just do that, yeah, whatever, and they like walk away and then they just like shove it down, and then after a while it all blows up in your face.
No, we don't do that. We used to do that. Each one of us would do it in our own way, right? And then basically like 2017, we just realized like with both of our personality types, it's so much easier, no matter what the subject or topic or incident is just like say it right then and there.
Yeah.
And like it's done. It's I genuinely, and I know a lot of people say this, or you might like hear it and be like, oh yeah, you're so full of crap. Like I don't remember the last time we got in like an actual quote unquote fight. I genuinely, I don't. And it's not that we're not healthy or we're not feeling. It's just when something happens, like me responding, the other morning.
Yeah.
She literally came downstairs and was like, and it was like, let's talk about that. And it's not simple.
No.
To do that. it's actually,
Takes
it-
intentionality.
it does, and it takes practice, right? Because I still have to, if she does something that annoys me or irritates me or frustrates me or gets under my skin, I still need to learn how to articulate that and express that in a way that is healthy, not in a way of coming at you, right? And that's what I didn't understand for a long time. I didn't, even though I was blunt, because I've always been blunt, you know that, like, but the bluntness that I used to have was more of like I'm going to be blunt, but say it in a way that makes you feel bad, versus now, like if I want to bring something up, I just say it without the intent of, wanting this underlying like, haha, I got you. It's more like, dude, let's just talk about it. So this is like done. We can both express it and not let something that's nothing become something. And so to answer that, the question of that guy is it takes practice. It takes work, just like anything, right? You're not going to pick anything up and absolutely become amazing at something without practice, right? Everything takes practice. Like if you want to be a great free throw shooter, you shoot freaking free throws every single day. If you want to be a great communicator in your relationship, you have to learn to communicate. And that's something I didn't know how to. And so Devin and I took a lot of time to practice that. And she didn't know how to communicate either. She was in a relationship before me that was used to her, I don't know, her communication style was kind of more aggressive, and that's not going to fly with who I am, nor should I be able to communicate that way to her. And so it was a thing that we both had to work at. We both had to learn how to communicate to each other. I personally had to learn how to take what I'm thinking or feeling or wanting and really learn how to express that in a way that is actually for the better good of that particular topic or point, not so I could win or get like one up or be in this position of haha, but it was more of like, hey, what I'm feeling right now or what I want to say, how do I say it so it's actually for the good, not for me and for my good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at too with some people. Like I said, this is what I did with Caitlin is as I was learning to do that, I would ask her like, how should I say this when we're talking about something? Like if I'm trying to convey this, like what words that I would communicate to you, like, is it easier for you to take in, digest, and then spit back out so that we can have a communication? It's also, I mean, you're coming from two different backgrounds. Like my wife's family very much doesn't like to talk about things.
Yeah.
Something happens, they just ignore it. And my family is Hispanic, like in your face. We're going to talk about it right this second, whether you like it or not. we're going to have this discussion. So finding that balance and coming together and learning how to talk. I think another big part of it is knowing, like, as a guy, we have a lot of pressures in our life. We have a lot going on in our mind. And like, there's been times too where I have so much going on in my mind that I'm processing and I'm not letting Caitlin know that, like, hey, I've I got a million things going on in my brain, and she does like 3 or 4 things that kind of set me off, and then I get mad that it's things that I shouldn't get mad about. Like, she moved something, and I'm like, dude, why the heck did you move that? She's like, really? That's what you're gonna get mad about right now? Like, and it's realizing that's not the situation. It's not my wife. It's me needing to go, like, jujitsu, like we were talking about it today. Like, you need to have those small pressure releases in your life, whatever it is, so that you don't boil over at your family and at your wife, because it might not be something between you and your wife. It might just be that you have too much stress going on in your life and you need to find an outlet for it. That's not, that allows you to calm down, relax, and then at the end of the day, when you go see your family, be the best version of yourself when you're there.
Yeah. And so, I mean, actionable steps to take for any person doesn't just have to be a guy, but like, you got to have an outlet for yourself, right? Whether it's a sport, a hobby, reading, shopping, whatever it is, you have to have an outlet for yourself to be able to kind of give yourself that
Healthy
space.
outlet.
Yeah. I'm not talking going to freaking McDonald's and shoving like food in your face.
Or just going to the bar and pounding beers.
Drinking. Yeah, it's more, you need to have a space to let yourself just kind of come back down from whatever it is you're going on. So you need to find an outlet. 2, you need to learn how you, as a person, communicate. If you communicate in a harsh way, you should probably like look at that and figure that out and figure out why you're communicating in a way that's a little bit more harsh. You also need to learn how you want to be communicated. Like you said, you asked Caitlin how you should say something. I never did that. I think that's actually a really cool thing. I don't know if I would have been able to do that. I could now.
I think everyone's different.
Yeah, at the time I would have been like, I'm not gonna ask my wife that. Like, what the hell? Or my girlfriend or whatever, you know. But I think it's actually a really smart tool, because it probably could have saved us so much time if we would have just both asked, like, how. But so, yeah, you got to have an outlet for yourself, because everything starts within you, right? Like, if you're not at a place where you can be healthy, if you're not healthy as an individual, it's going to be really difficult to carry on any healthy relationship. And I think that's step one is being able to like see that, learn that, and honestly find a way and a solution to bridge whatever that gap is. And again, learning how to communicate effectively and properly. And then 3, learning to be on the receiving end of when you are doing something wrong, right? Like that's a tough pill to swallow. So as a husband and in my relationship, when I am wrong, I need to know that I'm wrong. And so if it takes me 5 minutes, 5 days, or whatever it is, not a year, but a little bit of time to be able to process that and be like, oh shoot, man, like you were wrong. You need to own that. And as a man, like, own it, right? Like, stand on it. Like, if you did it, fix it. I think a lot of guys struggle with that, as you know, you hear it all the time, like whether it's in the gym or just like your friends. A lot of guys, speaking to men specifically, females are just like this too, but speaking to men specifically, like, we have a hard time admitting, obviously, when we're wrong, or a hard time admitting if we don't know something, or if we need help with something, but we're not going to ask for help with something because it's too, it's not macho enough, like whatever it is, like, dude, shut up and fix it, right? Like, learn to receive it. And that was something that was also hard for me. And so now in my daily life and my daily practice, I understand that, not just with my wife, when it comes to work or friends, family, like whatever it is, like, I now know myself enough to understand, like, one, you can't communicate the same way I would to Jordan as my wife, or to Jordan as my daughter, right? You need to learn and identify how to properly communicate with people. And 2, like, when I'm wrong with something, like, just freaking be wrong, like, fix it. Like, it's not the end of the world, right? Like, everyone has this like big ego, not everyone, but people have a big ego, and it's like, when you let go of that, it doesn't matter. Is your ego going to come out sometimes? Oh, for sure. There are some times where it takes me a while to realize, dang, I was wrong, but I like to try, or at least like to think that I do a good job at admitting those times. Usually I'll turn it into like a joke, because that's just how I am, but it's my way of acknowledging, like, that's on me. But again, all of this just takes practice. And I actually love the question that they asked, because I think it's a very useful tip with what we're wanting to do with Good Dude, Good Dad, right? Like, to be a good dude and to be a good dad, either or both, like, you got to effectively communicate with people. You have to effectively understand yourself, and we have to effectively learn to make ourselves the best version of that. And so I think it's a really good tool, and it's making me, even as we're talking about it, think of ways that, I might need a little like refresher or a little more juice to something,
Yeah, there's 2 last things I thought about as you were going through that. Is one thing I try to remember, or as I got better in our communication, do I still mess up sometimes? Yes. Like you said, I actually, my underlining emotion is actually anger too. I think it's just because I'm short. I got like 6'5" anger and a 5'8" body. But is realizing that I can't control her response to me. All I can control is my response to whatever happens. And it's not my job to control how she responds. It's my job to control how I respond. Ooh. So as the husband, you're setting the tone in your family. And like, people say, happy wife, happy life. But honestly, it's really a husband sets a tone in a family. and it's you set the baseline. And the second thing is I'm not knocking anybody who is divorced, but I know Ben and I have talked about this before. We know what the baseline is that we've chose that this is our partner for life, and that's not changing. Yeah. So at the end of the day, we need to come to a conclusion because, we need to find a way to make things work because leaving is not an option for us.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather have a healthy relationship for the rest of my life than just be miserable. So, so sometimes that means admitting you're wrong, and sometimes it's just realizing that you might have a difference of opinion, but you got to find a way forward.
Yeah.
And
find a way to figure it out together.
And I don't think it's healthy to not disagree. Like that's another thing is that there's a difference between fighting and disagreeing. I don't think my wife and I fight very often, if really ever anymore, but we do disagree about things. And that's not, if you're not disagreeing, then you're just two yes people all the time.
That'd be weird.
And that's not healthy either, So
no, definitely disagree on things, and even like our parenting styles sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like handling a situation my way versus handling a situation her way. Yeah. Or, I mean, for most of the time, obviously we handle things like our way, but there are times where I'm like, oh, nah, dude, we're doing my way.
Yeah, I'm pulling a dad card.
Like we did it your way. Now we're going my way.
Daddy's home.
Yeah. Is it right? Is it wrong? Who knows, dude? Parenting's freaking hard.
Parenting is hard.
But thank you for that question. I think that's rad. I would love more people to like DM us and give us topics. Like if you want to hear our opinions on how different people handle it, that'd be great. If you don't want to hear it, that'd be great. But I think it's really cool. And again, it's not us just like sitting here talking about it because we have it figured out. It's actually like helping me figure things out as we talk about certain things.
We're not perfect.
And it helps us learn too, and it challenges us. And like sometimes like questions can be more self-reflecting for us than the person that is listening. But another good episode, my dude. I know, it's all good.
The camera just shut off. Okay.
I don't understand. How long did we get?
28 minutes.
So that camera,
I don't know. It's that one again. Anyway, remember, be a good dude, be a good dad. Have a good day.